the first ever exercise we've held with the voluntary and faith sector being the forefront, because usually it's either the emergency services or the local authorities, but we've flipped it on the reverse today. So the voluntary and faith sector, they're going to be the one in the limelight. So it's really to test their capabilities and to see, one, are there any gaps, or two, how we can recruit some more voluntary agencies to be part of the Norfolk Resilience Forum.
We try to make it as real as possible, just to demonstrate quite what the voluntary sector can bring, but also learn from it as well. So when the situation for real arises, we're in a much better place to respond to any immediate needs of people and the community.
In a further sinister development this morning, a number of fires have broken out, deliberately started by individuals intent on causing mayhem and destruction. A block of flats has been evacuated following an apparent arson attack. Residents were evacuated, but it is not clear who was in the tower block at the time, or if anyone is still inside. A place of safety has been identified at St Luke's Church for evacuees to assemble and for checks to be made on who may still be missing. Evacuees will be transported to a nearby rest centre providing temporary shelter whilst the situation is brought under control.
This is a very confused situation we have initially. There's hunger for the information that these guys can actually base their decisions on. The voluntary sector are a very important part of that. We're trying to embed them in all of the work of the emergency services now. They do offer a lot of facilities that we can't offer, so we do rely on them, and that's why we're using them here today, for them to experience that.
Or kind of once there's been the building's made safe, basically, because the building is on fire, and obviously the routes and things like that, we need to make sure that the area is safe.
Hello, ex-Harley, it's VCC here. They're both presumed to be in Waterloo Park, are they? Do we have any description?
If we go down this way first, come back round, then do this end. Yeah? Happy with that? We have been tasked to try and locate two elderly persons with dementia who have gone missing from the place of safety, which was St Luke's Church Hall. Gary, just have a look around the building there. Dan, if you go up that side, I'll come down this side. We'll go up the hedges and just look along.
From St Luke's to Sproston. And that's immediately, is it? Right, the transport is on its way, and that can be done as soon as they arrive.
3 DUY, M3 DUY, 2 is LD down.
We have a control. We're all in contact through either radio or mobile phone. So we're now bringing in a series of vehicles, all the people from the place of safety to the rest centre, and I'm informing the control how many are coming, when they arrive, when they leave, should anyone go missing.
Do you have any injuries of any shape or form? Have you fallen over, or are you just laying down to have a rest?
Just resting.
Just resting. I haven't yet confirmed totally who these people are, but they match my description, which is okay. That's right, just lay still. Don't get up. Just have a nice car park on Waterloo Road. If we can have a vehicle to there, and then the two misspurs are in what used to be the bowling green, which is, as you enter the car park, is the pathway to the left.
As well, it's fantastic to see so much, diversity, enthusiasm, and skill as well. So the voluntary and faith sector, that there's so many good people there, so many assets as well, and they do this each day. A variety of organisations work with the police or councils in local communities, and it's just in an extraordinary event, such as an emergency, that they can make a real difference. They come to the fore, and together we can work together to support those people and hopefully get things back up and running and get people safe and sound as soon as possible.
The voluntary sector is absolutely vital for crisis management and also emergency planning. We decided that, as I say, a while ago, realising they are absolutely vital to back up our Cat 1 responders, which are the police, the fire service and the ambulance, and to work alongside them to help in any sort of situation like this.
Really, we cannot, and I'm talking about we as in the statutory authorities, so the Cat 1 authorities, the police, the fire, the ambulance and local authority, we can't manage an incident. Yes, we deal with the response phase, the blue light bit, but then it's the subsequent phase, which can last not only not hours, but even days, even months, and the long-term effects of a major incident are still being felt. Somewhere perhaps such as London, following the 7th for 7 bombings in London, there are still psychological effects and long-term effects on the health of those people that were affected.
I work in chaplaincy in a hospital, and it's the sort of issues that I confront every day. I was a journalist for many years. People have said it must be a different job. But my job as a journalist was to walk into a position where you didn't know what was on the other side of that door, and you had to work out very quickly what was happening and then perhaps report it. My job now is to go through a similar door in people's lives and quickly assess what's going on, and the role of a modern chaplain is say, how can I help?
I think although you give a lot, you also get a lot. You get an enormous amount from the people you sort of meet and talk to, and certainly sometimes when I do a shift and I go in with all sorts of issues and problems in my head, and you sit and listen to some amazing people, you actually forget your own problems. So it's just quite an amazing experience actually volunteering, really worthwhile.
It's so important here to recognise the breadth of what would have to go into dealing with some form of emergency. You've got, for example, the Samaritans, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, and many others here today, people who, in the context of an exercise, have given up their time to be here, as well as, of course, all the people you can see behind me who are actually members of the public giving up their time to be in this. But, of course, crucially, when things do go wrong, if there were a real emergency, all of those voluntary and faith groups come to the fore, play a wonderful part and do something really amazing for the community, which I think actually is something to be celebrated.
And what we're doing is providing field kitchen facilities for these evacuees. We're able to put up a field kitchen in most conditions. We're fully self-contained, and it might not be 4-star Michelin guide food, but we can actually cater for lots of people.
You know, you hear kind of the Red Cross and St John because they're very high profile, but some of the lower profile people don't hear about until something goes wrong, and then they suddenly see them, or if there's something in their life that brings them into contact with those. But in addition to that, you do get an awful lot of volunteers that would come out and work with them just because something's happened and people feel they need to do something to help.
I think it's gone really well. It's been tiring, but I think it's gone well. I think it's paid off. And the real success is a lot of people have been putting all their on their Twitter and the Facebook, their images. So we're getting the message out and just getting really people to have a lot of fun, but also learning. And I think we've learned a lot of things today.
Volunteering is all about wanting to give something back. Everyone's got their own personal stories, their own personal motivations, and it's harnessing that. That's what the Norfolk Resilience Forum and the voluntary and faith sector is all about, is making sure that we can capture all that willingness across the county of Norfolk. So many different voluntary and faith groups who can have a role in an emergency, and more importantly want to as well. So we're wanting to capture those organisations, get them involved, because ultimately when the day does arrive, they're going to play such an important part. And days like Exercise Harmony, like we've had today, really allow us to put into practice what we do in reality in a safe environment, one that we can learn from afterwards as well.